Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Your Project Shepherd podcast. I am your host, Curtis Lawson with Shepherd Construction Advisors. Our goal here on the podcast is to help you make the best decisions for building, remodeling a custom home, or in today's case, maintaining and owning your home. We're going to talk about some ways that you can save money on your electricity using a fantastic pretty new service that's here in Texas. And so my guest today for that is Mike England. Mike is with Energy Ogre. Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Curtis.
Yeah, I'll start by saying Energy Ogre has not given me money to be on the podcast and promote their company here. I'm doing this because Mike is on the Custom Builders Council Board of Directors with me at the GHBA, the Builders Association. And he's very involved with that association. So I just wanted to have him on to talk about what they do, because I think one of their big struggles, not struggles because they're doing well, but one of their challenges they have to overcome is educating people as to what it is they do, right?
That's exactly right. That's the number one challenge. It's a brand new way to manage the electricity of your home.
Yeah. And so even though I've known you for a while and I've been aware of Energy Ogre for a few years, I actually just signed up like a few days ago, and it takes a few days once you sign up to kind of get your plan in place and all that. So I haven't actually gotten on board with the new plan yet, but I just signed up. I said, hey, if I'm going to have you on, I should probably sign up and learn more about it. And plus,
you won't regret it.
And plus, and we were talking before we started how when it's stupid hot like it is right now in Texas and probably most of the U.S., these are the times people start paying attention to their electric bill. Like normally my bill might be, $350. Well, the last one I got was $550. And so I'm like, holy crap, I need to do something about that. And part of it is I got 3 teenagers in the house who are at home during the summer. So that doesn't help.
Yeah, there's a kind of a watermark that you need to kind of be aware of. If you're paying more than $300, you're overpaying.
Yeah. Well, depending on the size of the house, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general terms, that's kind of for me, when I talk to people every day, when I go around the state, if you're paying more than $300, you're probably overpaying.
Yep. Now, and also let me say before we start, this conversation just applies to our people who are listening in Texas, right?
Correct.
You guys are a Texas company because Texas has energy deregulation to where there are providers of electricity who are actually delivering the electricity, but then there are the resellers and the people who are the companies that you pay your bill to. It's kind of an odd system for people who maybe aren't in Texas.
Right.
And also, that's not everywhere in Texas, right? Like co-ops and different things like that don't apply to this, right?
Yeah, there's about 85% of the state, Curtis, is what they call competitive or deregulated. And there's pockets of roughly 15% that you have no choice. Like the city of San Antonio, city of Austin, they have one provider.
Mm.
And but for the most part, there's about 8 million what they call available meters that they can choose their electricity provider.
So if you're on a co-op, like you're in a rural area, like the Pedernales co-op, you probably can't do anything in those areas, right?
Correct.
Okay. For better or for worse, we have our own grid. There's been a lot of stuff in the news over the last couple of years about our power grid. So we have our own grid that's kind of independent from the rest of the country, if I understand correctly. And we have this deregulated electricity. So again, if you're listening to us from Skokie, Illinois, we can't help you.
But it's interesting. Can I talk about the grid just for
Yeah, definitely.
So it's amazing, when years ago, the leadership of Texas didn't want to be connected to the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some political stuff behind the scenes on that, as you can imagine. But they had the foresight to have our own grid. So we're not connected to, they call it the Eastern Connect and the Western. We're not connected. So we have our own grid. And that was done for a reason, so that we can manage our own and not have to rely on the government or anybody else to get our electricity. And so that's what makes Texas unique.
And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's not so good, right? I mean, like, I think most of the time it's good, but, maybe last year we were having all these issues, and they were saying the power wasn't available. They're like, well, just bring some more power from Oklahoma or Louisiana. Or, we can't do that in those cases, right?
Yeah, exactly. So give you just a quick reason why some of this stuff has been happening recently is Texas is growing at a rapid pace. People are moving here from California, from the Northeast at a record rate. So we have more people, Curtis, today than the state than we ever had. And then you combine that with we're doing more in wind and solar for generation. And even though it's cheaper, it's not as reliable. And so in the freeze, which I talked about at the Builder Association, when the freeze came, that was a situation where the wind didn't blow and the sun didn't shine. And then we had all these record number of people now using electricity, and you combine that, you have a bad outcome.
Yeah.
And so it is and we have aging equipment. We're going to see more problems actually in the winter going forward, because that's when plants go down and they do maintenance and things like that. And then electric heat is now, as you know, your builder, electric heat is now becoming more and more prevalent.
Yep.
And so we're gonna see it occasionally, but I think we've made some changes recently. I think it's going to get better.
Yeah. So in the past, when all the homes had gas heat, or the majority, and probably the majority still do, but as we're trending toward electric, I could count on our power bill going from, again, like $300 a month in the summer to $60 a month in the winter, but my gas bill goes the other direction, right? Maybe
Correct.
$20 for most of the year, and now it's $120 in the winter. But now we're seeing, I think, and again, this goes back to the energy code, the way houses are being built tight. We're kind of being forced to use electric heat. And so we're going to see probably more balanced electrical costs throughout the year, and not kind of weighted toward the summer.
We're in the middle of some of that. We were invited at IBS 2 years ago in Orlando. As you guys are looking at, there's some changing of some energy codes going on, and kind of preparing maybe for electric vehicles, for battery storage, for generators, solar. There's a lot of political pressure to go more electric. Some of it can never really be done, but they talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
It's political kind of stuff. We call it aspirational. And so we had a chance to speak to the leading builders of America, which are the largest builders in the U.S., and just tell them what's feasible and what's not. Because when you have to build a home for solar preparation or for EV preparation, whatever, it's going to cost you more to build that home.
Mm-hmm.
And $20,000 to $30,000 more a year, something like that, is what we hear. And so there's a lot of chit chat about where it's all going to go, but the homes are being built better. So one of the neat things that's come out of this, and one of the reasons I'm part of the Builder Association, is that we have the data of these new homes. So I can tell when you build a home, and we're managing it for your new homeowner, I can see how it performs.
Mm-hmm.
I get the data in 15-minute increments. Man, it's remarkable how well you guys are doing. When we have data from 10-year-old homes, because we manage those, 20-year-old homes, 30-year homes, and you can see how much better the home building is getting as we move along, and how low the bills are getting because of the construction and things that you guys are doing.
You use the term homes that we manage, so this is a great introduction to explain what it is that you guys do. Because you're not an electric company, you're not an electric provider, you're really a tech company and kind of a management company. Is that right?
That's correct. So we're the first managed residential electricity platform in the U.S. And so what that means is we manage the electricity for the homeowner. They actually give us the authority to manage their home. And as you mentioned earlier, in Texas, it's very, very difficult to figure out the right electricity plan for your home. And so there's roughly 1,000, 1,500 plans on the market at any given time. They're changing all the time. Prices are changing all the time. The providers, Curtis, have constructed them making it very hard for the consumer to figure out the right plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they make more money on us, is if you can't kind of figure out what's the best for your home, then you're going to select a plan that they make more money on.
Yeah.
And so, you can't drive down a highway today and you see free weekends, solar nights, free this, free that. Nothing's free. And these are all marketing ploys to bring you in they're going to try to maximize what they can charge you.
I'd assume that they're all paying the same price, or aren't they? Or is there a difference for them?
Well, they're buying blocks of electricity for their customer base,
right?
And so we first launched the company. People were overpaying in Texas to the tune of $10 to $12 billion. It was amazing. And in the first few years, people would come into us and we would save them 50-60%.
Wow.
And they're like, any kind of comment.
How is that possible?
Yeah, exactly. And this doesn't make any sense. And it's because the providers had conditioned us on the various types of plans and the things that they were doing that enabled them to make more money. And so when that happens, and we see in all walks of life, when that happens, when the consumer is being taken advantage of, at some point, Curtis, a technology comes along that helps them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we are, is we're a technology company that just executes this for them. And it's been a huge success. And, we get up every day, and we just know that we're putting money back in people's pockets, right? Just the other day, I saw we keep a running total of what we saved our customer base. We're closing in on $250 million.
Wow.
And that's money that's been redistributed from the providers of the world back into their pockets. And so it's been a fun ride. We started out of the back of a church with very little money, and just grew organically. We didn't have money to market it or all that. But once we got you in a community and you saved 50%, what do you think people did?
Tell everybody.
They told everybody. So they told their mom, their dad, their neighbors. And so you could see us when we start in a community, you could see us grow in that community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we grew. And to the point now where we've serviced almost 300,000 customers in Texas.
I can't imagine that the power companies like that idea.
No, it's we knew this was going to impact them. And so our CEO did a great job of developing relationships with the Public Utility Commission. And we went up there several times, and they put out a Power to Choose, which is a place where you house all the plans.
Yeah, it's like powertochoose.org, right? Website, yeah. So
you go there, that's where all the plans are housed. It doesn't help you select the right one, but you can see them all.
Yeah.
And so we began to develop a relationship with they call it the PUC, Public Utility Commission. And when we first came up there, we were like, wow, that's unbelievable. So we developed a close relationship, and then Reliant and TXU tried to lobby us out.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Yeah. And we had done a nice job of getting prepared for that. And they the lady at the time ruled, he goes, I can't see where helping the customer is a bad thing. So we knew that was coming, and we survived that.
Yeah.
And so that was a hurdle that was probably the last hurdle for us. And so we got through that, and now we're growing fast, and it's been, it's funny. I speak a lot, and I don't really know how it all happened. And I had come out. I was an owner in a labor company. The president, who was a close friend of mine, he was an executive for the Atlanta Braves, and then he met the CEO, who really is the expert or the technology guru that he owns some providers, and he goes, he had the foresight to see this is really what needs to be done for the consumer. And so it's been a great ride. I look forward to going to work every day. It's fun. We're in the process of trying to do a bunch of new stuff, and which is going to be coming out. That's going to be exciting for the consumer. But all in all, our biggest challenge, like you said, is just people understanding what we do.
Yeah, education. I know in the past, every couple of years when my contract with my provider expired, my wife would start nagging me, hey, our power bill just went up a bunch. I think our contract expired. Will you get on there and shop for it?
Yeah.
And, like everything else that, I just kind of hemmed and hawed and put it off. And, that rate went up. And finally, I'd get on the Power to Choose website, and I'd look at all these, and I'm like, I don't know what these things mean. I'm like, I'm just going to pick the one that's showing the cheapest, number of cents per kilowatt, right?
Right.
Like click, buy, and I'm done, and it's out of my head for the next 2 years. But if I understand right, like those pricing models are not transparent. So me just clicking on that cheapest kilowatt hour price isn't necessarily the right way to go, right?
No. So what we do, and this is kind of the behind the scenes, is when you come into us, like you did recently, you give us the authority to pull your usage. And we call it a demand profile of how you use electricity for your home. Everybody uses it a little bit different. You may have a pool. You may have 5 people in your house. You may have 2 people in your house. Everybody uses it a little bit differently. So when you come in, we access that demand profile, and we get it in 15-minute increments. And we run your profile against every supply curve on the market, roughly 1,000 or so at any given moment. And so anyway, we run your demand profile against every supply curve, and we find the one that just mathematically saves your home the most money. And these plans are tiered by your usage profile. So even though you may see 10.5 cents jump out you on power to choose, but that 10.5 cent may only be at 1,000 kilowatts. And at 1,001, it may be 14.6. And at 999, it may be 17.9. And so there's some gimmicks and some tricks how they present the plan. But what we're doing every day is we're digesting all of these plans. They come and go off the market all the time. We're digesting them in the system, and we scrub them to see how they're constructed. And a lot of them aren't even constructed properly. We'll throw them out. They're gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
And so we evaluate all these. We digest them in our system. You come into us. We take your demand profile, run it against. We have a supply profile, and we run it against all those plans on the market. And so we find the one that just mathematically saves you the most money. And now you can do this, Curtis, but it would take you a long time.
Right.
It would take you a long time. So there's a few people that can do it, mainly engineers and
accountants and people who are very detail oriented and technical.
Yeah. So like 10% of the population really spends a lot of time on it and does it themselves.
Yeah.
And but 90% overpay.
But they might do that once every couple of years. They're not checking it every month to make sure they're staying on top of it, which you guys, if I understand right, are kind of constantly monitoring that. And if the opportunity is there to switch you before your plan's up, don't you do that as well?
Yeah, we've done a lot of that recently. Let me kind of tell you a little bit about that. So last summer, we had the highest electricity rates we've ever had. There's a lot of reasons for that. Natural gas had gone to an all-time high level, and these plants are powered by natural gas. And so the rates went up to almost 20 cents all in.
Ooh.
That includes center point charges here in Houston, Encore in Dallas. And then this fall, they came down to about 12 cents all in. Okay, so it dropped considerably, and we knew that was going to happen. And that's one benefit we have is we can look at the futures, and we have an idea what the market's going to be doing in the next 6, 12, 18 months. And so we went in and contacted all of our customers, ran an analysis of moving them from 20 cents back now to 12, and we sent this analysis to them. And by law, you can break your contract.
Mm-hmm.
And there's what they call an early termination fee. It can be anywhere from $100 to $300. And so we would run these analytics for them, send them the report. And I saw many of these because my friends and stuff would call in. And many times it was 1,000, 1,200, 1,400. And so we're actively managing it. So when the market drops, we run analytics on each home. And if we can change them to this new low rate, we'll execute that for them.
So you'll say, hey, you have to pay a $200 termination fee, but your net savings over the next few months is X, so it's worth it, right? Or
correct.
You can decide, do you want to do this? So do you guys automatically change, or do you send an email or post a message on your dashboard that says, hey, this is an option for you to change if you want to, or how does that work?
We do. In this case, we send them an email and get their approval.
Mm-hmm.
We don't send it to them unless it's a good deal for them.
Right.
So when we're running the analytics of a customer, if it doesn't make sense, we won't even send them an email. But if it does, we'll actually send them an email and get their approval.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're getting ready. We're kind of changing that process now, whereas we're going to kind of ask for parameters for approval and just execute it in the future.
Okay. So if I'm going to save X amount,
I want you to do
go
it.
ahead and do it for me regardless, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we've been doing all that in the fall. And so that's one thing that we kind of get people say, well, they just purchase it for me and then they leave it alone. No, we're constantly managing it. And then one thing that is really cool, and this applies to builders as well, is once we're managing your home, we have an idea of what you're going to use in the future,
mm-hmm.
and what you're going to pay. So we have a communication to you that you're going to spend this much in the next 30 days, and you're going to use this much, because we're getting the trends of how you use electricity of your home, and then we're taking that data and then giving it back to you so that you can budget and plan for what your bill will potentially be.
I would assume that this can apply to second homes, vacation homes, or whatever, and you're analyzing, hey, certain months of the year, this is getting used more than other months of the year, right?
Yeah. Obviously, the summer's our biggest time of the year.
Yeah.
And right now, we're all hands on deck, because bills are high, people are nervous, and they come check us out. And we have a calculator on our website, so you can take your bill. It's free. You can take your bill, plug in some data from your bill. We ask for the due date. We ask for the total cost. We ask for the usage. We ask for your zip code. And then when you plug that in, we automatically scan every plan, and we show you what we can save you before you engage us.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been done before. So you can check yourself for free if I'm buying this correctly or not, and we'll tell you the exact savings amount. And so we get people running that all day long, and then a lot of times after they see the savings numbers, they sign up with us.
And so you guys charge a monthly membership, which is like $10 a month, right?
That's correct.
And so, and just asking, and I'm not sure if you can disclose this, but is that the only way that you guys make money? Are y'all making money off membership fees? Are you also getting referral fees from providers, or how do y'all?
No, it's a great question.
Money?
No, we don't. We do not. We're totally agnostic. So we do not take any kickbacks, anything from the provider. Only money we make is from you. And so it's totally transparent. It's upfront. Obviously, we don't ask you to do it if it doesn't make sense for you. There's no contract with us. So we're going to put you in a contract with the provider, but there's no contract with us. So if we don't do a good job or don't do what you think we should do, you can leave us, and no harm, no foul.
Right. There's no termination fee for canceling your membership, right?
That's correct.
So another question. I know that some people, when they choose their plans on the Power to Choose website, like you can go on there and you can pick, I care about having a certain percentage of my electricity from wind or solar or whatever. Like you can kind of, if you are inclined to be green, you can kind of choose, I want to buy my that type of electricity. Is it the same thing through you guys?
Yeah. In our sign up process, we ask that.
Okay.
And so if somebody wants a special kind of thing, we can execute that for them.
Okay. Can I choose all nuclear?
Nuclear. There's not much of that left.
Yeah, I know.
And it's.
I think South Texas still has a plant down there, right?
Yeah, and then up in the Comanche.
Yeah.
In Central Texas, there's still one. Whatever you want us to do, we can execute for you. Now, it's typically more expensive, but people do it for other reasons.
Right. Maybe they own stock in a solar company, or they got a wind farm on their property or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Want to support myself. If somebody wants to use Energy Ogre, well, first of all, like you're going to give us a referral code that we can give to our audience, right? So once you send me that, we'll put this on our video for people to click on and our social media as well. But if somebody wants to sign up with it with Energy Ogre, what do they do?
Yeah, you just go to energyogre.com. And it takes 5 minutes. And there's a place where you can put a promo code, which will give you a discount. And then once you sign up, you're going to get a welcome email of all that we're going to be doing for you. And we're going to need some little more information for you. And then by the time you sign up and get in a plan, it's usually 4 or 5 working days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real easy. We communicate to you a lot. We have a portal where you can look at everything we're doing. And so it's a really easy thing to do. And it's funny. I don't even know who my provider is. Obviously I've been doing it from the beginning, but it's just on autopilot. and I just get some communications from time to time about how it's going and what I'm doing, what the Energy Ogre is doing, and so it's a real easy thing.
Yeah, I like that because I like I said, I hate every 2 years or 1 year, whatever my contract is. I hate having to hop on there and shop for it. You should do the same thing with home insurance and car insurance. Actually,
we've had them in our office. We've had them looking at our model, and you're right. Because just recently, my home insurance went up, and I didn't know it, and I had to go circle back and do it. It'd be nice if somebody could just maintain that for me.
Yeah, I just had to renew my homeowners insurance, and the company that I'd been with, like it had almost tripled over the last 5 years, and I shopped it, and I took it back down to where it was 5 years ago by shopping it, and so I saved $3,000 or more a year. By shopping it, and I hate doing it because shopping for homeowners insurance is probably more frustrating even than shopping for electricity. So you need an Insurance Ogre and all the other new websites to go with that.
That's right. Can I tell you a little bit of what we're doing for the builders?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I know this is kind of their audience, right? So we've got a builders platform where when the home is sold, they move right into our platform. We get them set up right on the closing date, and we get them set up in the lowest rate. And what was happening, Curtis, is that all you guys were building these great homes, but when a customer moves in from California or the Northeast or whatever, they were picking an electricity plan that was double. So you weren't maximizing the value of your home because of the procurement price of electricity. And so a lot of times your home was built really well, but the bills were still high because they were choosing a plan that's double the market.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of the last piece of the puzzle of the energy efficient strategies of builders. And once we're managing it, combined with the well-built home, it is unbelievable how low it is. In many cases, less than $1,000 a year.
Wow.
And then we take that data that we're getting from your home that you've built, and then we're arming you in the sales process. So when someone comes to look at your new home that you just built, we can tell them exactly or close to how much electricity you're going to use and what's going to cost. And so you're able to show the value of your home for the first time. Now, you've heard of HERS ratings, right?
Mm-hmm.
HERS rating is just a prediction.
Right.
We have the actual data. We're the only company in the U.S. that has the actual data. And so you introduce them for us. They move in, use our platform. We gather data. We give you that data back that you can tell people as they're walking the home. We have a managed electricity platform that's going to manage your home to this cost. And so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's a great value that we can give to our clients. One other question that popped into my head a second ago was, we've talked a lot on recent episodes with some other guests about solar systems for their homes, to where they're using solar both for battery storage for outages, but they're also using it to offset their electricity cost. Mm-hmm. How does that work with you guys? Because I know if you're generating more than you're using, you're selling it back to the grid. Does that complicate things for you at all?
First of all, solar is not really ideal in Texas because we pay lower than electricity than anybody in the world.
Right.
And so the economics don't work.
Right.
Now, people that do it for other reasons, I get that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you have several providers that do buyback programs, but they charge you more on the front side. Mm. And so the net is not good for you. Mm-hmm. So if you have solar, but you still have to have some electricity the old-fashioned way, you're better off coming to us. Let us manage that that piece to the lowest cost, and not worry about the buyback program. Mm-hmm. Because the buyback programs in many cases are gimmicks. They're not cost effective. Mm-hmm. And so first of all, it's not ideal in Texas for solar in general. And then if you have a solar and it's still 50% of your home needs to be powered the old-fashioned way, we're still a better option.
Yeah, so we talked to Toner and another guest a few weeks ago about this, and we said that the strategy for solar where we are really needs to be more for the backup and the battery storage.
Correct.
I mean, obviously, you can do the gas generator, but the solar backup has a lot of advantages too.
Correct.
First of all, it's quiet. You don't have to hear that generator fire up and worry about maintenance on the generator and all that stuff. And the costs on it have come down considerably to where it makes more sense to do the solar and the batteries now. So I agree. As far as cost of electricity in Texas, it doesn't really make sense. But for the storage and backup side, I think it's a great option.
Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff that has to be done on the technology of the storage.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolving so fast that once they develop a battery, the technology gets better, and another one comes out.
Right.
And so this is one thing we talked about when we were at the Builders Show, the Leading Builders of America, is that technology is still not settled.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you're right. If you can combine solar with battery storage, it's ideal.
Yeah, I think that technology will always get better and better. I mean, I think all types of battery storage, when it comes to the lithiums and the different types of batteries that have come out, they've gotten progressively better over the years. So that will get better and better. But yeah, again, I totally agree with you that for your day-to-day electricity usage doesn't always make sense, and it's not the best option in Texas. But that doesn't hinder you from doing your thing if they have the solar system already.
Yeah, we get lots of calls, and I take a lot of those myself, just people give my number out and stuff. And I kind of say, yeah, we're a better option a lot of times than the buyback programs.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it. So you gave us your info, energyogre.com, and we will be sure and post that referral code on the video and on our website and social media, along with the post for this episode. And again, just a reminder that this just applies to Texas right now. Oh, so do any other states have a similar electrical setup to Texas like this?
It's not as robust as Texas, like New York, New Jersey. They're deregulated, but on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
A lot of other countries are. Like we've had Australia come in. Australia looks like Texas. Japan looks like Texas. Great Britain looks like Texas. We've had some people come in from out of the country, kind of looking at our model, which is more similar than the States. We just use so much here by far.
Yeah.
That we get, we always talk about going to New York and things like that, but there's just so big here, and there's so many users. At this point, it doesn't make sense.
I was going to ask if you planned on doing this in other spots in the future.
Yeah, we're looking at it, and we're looking at some new things that we're going to be doing. That's around the resiliency of the home. I think I mentioned that at the Builders Association. That we're looking at helping you manage through these grid issues. Where we would just execute things for you.
Okay.
And one more thing, if you need any personal assistance, go to business@energyogre.com, and my team gets that email, and we can answer your questions. We can run savings numbers for you. We can help you personally if you need that. And a lot of people, especially old people, I personally try to take care of them because they don't understand the technology and what we're all doing. And they a lot of times they need help. And unfortunately, the elderly and the economically disadvantaged pay more than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a terrible thing. And so anytime we can help those folks or guide them, and because that savings means more to them than maybe an average person.
That's a great point. I can't imagine my grandma trying to get set up on this. And she's on a fixed income, and like saving $50 a month
is a big deal.
Would be a big deal for her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have an email address.
My mom and dad, the same thing. So I've got them on auto pay, and we're managing it.
Yeah.
And they don't have to touch it.
Nice. So, but you do have to have an email address set up for the account, right?
Correct.
To engage with the dashboard. So a family member is going to have to kind of help them at least get that portion of it going, right?
And we do that. So we'll get the elderly person and their daughter or son on the phone. And I'm the same way. So my email address is on my parents.
Yeah.
And so, yes. So, because we send out emails. And so we'll try to tell them how to do that, connect a family member or a neighbor or something. And because they're not technology, savvy when they're 70, 80, 90 years old. So
Yeah, you guys should do like, and maybe you already do this, but you should do like a thing in a senior community type thing, or in a a lower income area of town, and kind of have an information session. And hey, this is how we can save you some money on your bills.
You know what? It's funny you bring that up. Our CEO has had this vision for a while, and I've kind of looked into it. So in Houston, there's roughly 400,000 elderly and economically disadvantaged. And the economically disadvantaged a lot of times have a hard time because of their credit history.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get put into a plan at an elevated rate because of their credit history.
Right.
And so the vision for us would be to go to some of the big corporations here in town and allow them to be a backstop, put a fund together. So a person comes in that's doesn't have good credit and they're struggling. They don't have to put the deposit down. The electricity company knows that this is going to be backed by the corporations here in Houston, and because the provider's worried they're not going to pay their bill.
Right.
And so, and man, if we could pull that off,
yeah,
I mean, that would be huge. We tried to get the mayor and people involved in this because it'd be conducive for them because they're trying to help the community. And but any kind of ideas or things that we're a good platform to maybe do something like that,
or maybe some churches and community organizations that serve those communities might be a great spot too.
Right. Yeah, we need that intermediary that has access to that group.
Yeah.
And so we've talked to various organizations around that, but it's shocking.
Yeah.
How much they pay.
I mean, I think it's a fantastic service for everyone in Texas. But now that I think about that more and more, I mean, that can be just a great service to the community too. Right. I mean, it's that could be a game changer for a lot of people who are struggling financially.
Right, and we would waive our fee to help those folks. And
yeah.
So if anybody listening has any ideas or can help, we're thinking about it and we want to do it, and it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some nonprofits out there, some organizations that hopefully would hear this. Maybe we can even like edit like a special short or clip of this portion of the talk and pop it out there on social media. We take these long episodes, we cut them up into minute sound bites and put them out there. So if we can maybe put something out there just about this, maybe somebody will hear that and it'll spur somebody to action.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a great service. It can be like a ministry, really helping people save $50, $100, $200 to somebody who's making, who's below the poverty level. Man, that's huge.
25% of their total expenditures are electricity, whereas me and you may be 2 or 3%.
Right.
That's the difference. Is it impacts their home a lot more because they make less. Or don't work at all. So, so it is a huge deal if you can impact that.
Yeah.
For them.
Well, let's do it. Let's do what we can to help those people.
Right.
And so, thanks for joining me. And,
thank you so much.
And thanks for what you're doing in this realm, and also thanks for what you do with the GHBA and serving. You're so involved, and you're always helping people there too. So, I love being around you.
All right, same here. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Your Project Shepherd podcast. We hope you enjoyed learning about Energy Ogre and saving some money. So please go visit Mike and his team on energyogre.com. Please visit us at yourprojectshepherd.com. We would love to help you with your construction project or any problems that you're having, or to help educate you. We'll see you next time, and have a good one.